This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing
screen.
game. iRacing is puts you in the driver's seat
Can he
to
make the
experience
corner?
today's
Somehow he
newest form
does!
of
How did he
competitive
get back
motorsport,
on there?
Virtual racing, all from your home.
Could not have been any closer. 0 as they cross the line, and now they start to scatter. They know it's for real this time, and I think that's Adams Jr., who's got a good shot, and he goes up the middle, 3 wide into Lacombe. Is he going to be able to take the lead? Yes, he's got it. And coming down into the second one. Yep, there it is. I was going to say, he's mighty close. Hisada sees it coming. Is he going to try and cut back? He's going to use the wider exit to actually get a good launch and take the inside. Coming down into Hans Ernst. Could he fight back? He doesn't have the nose ahead of him. There goes Jim Shedlick, who goes a little wide, banking now the other way. Hisada fights back, and coming down into Kumho, Hisada somehow is back into the lead.
This is your chance to get behind the wheel. The opportunity to race just like the pros. From the grassroots levels, where we all got our start, to the most popular race cars on the planet. From the fairgrounds of Nashville to the banks of Daytona, to tracks that will never be forgotten. Realistic driving, intense competition, all from the comfort of your own home. This is the ultimate motorsports simulation. This is iRacing.
In recent rounds, immense speed and talent has arrived in the GTP class to shake up the order. Non-regulars have been challenging for points and sometimes victories, perhaps causing some consternation for drivers like Sintez Galindo. How will they affect things here today at Donington? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 6 of the Kamel GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Ryan Walker. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Donington Park is not a circuit typically associated with multi-class racing. It's going to be a tight fit for the Kamel drivers, so why don't we take a closer look with our track guide. Welcome to Donington Park. This British track can boast the rare feat of hosting Grand Prix racing since before the advent of the modern F1 Championship. About a half-hour northeast of Birmingham, cars and bikes of many types have competed here. There are two layouts that can be driven: the Grand Prix version, which is roughly 2.5 miles, or the National Circuit, which is just under 2 miles. The only difference between them is the addition of the Melbourne and Goddard's hairpins at the end of the lap. This circuit is known for its fast, sweeping bends and difficulty in overtaking. There's also some extremely tricky blind apexes like at McLean's and Coppice. Ironically, one of the most famous and more difficult high-speed turns is called the Old Hairpin. Resembling nothing of its name, it includes a frustrating kinked entry and a very critical corner exit that leads to a long piece of uphill acceleration. The first turn of Redgate is a popular place for overtakes, but it carries an unusual danger. The pit exit empties right into the racing line, and if stops are expected during the race, it can prompt some treacherous exchanges. While the circuit is most well known for its extremely wet 1993 European Grand Prix, where Ayrton Senna blitzed the field for a win, currently the track is mainly used for lower-level open-wheelers and touring car racing. Overwhelmingly popular with British fans, Donington Park has established itself as a pivotal circuit in the UK racing scene. Well, Ryan, the Kamel Series has visited here in the past, but I have a feeling that this is going to be a tight fit for both classes around a track that doesn't really have a lot of long straights.
Yeah, absolutely. Donington Park, it's a tight, twisty track, pretty much, and there's not really many straights like you mentioned. But this 2.498 mile track, it's been around for quite some time. It's went through various changes in the past, and it's hosted a range of series as well, from the British Touring Car Championship to British GT, MotoGP, you name it. It's probably been here, and it's also hosted the Formula One Grand Prix. Or European Grand Prix back in 1993, and today it will be host to the Kamel GT Championship, and there's not many passing opportunities. Your best passing opportunity is probably the run down the Starkey Straits heading down to the Fogarty S's, or even the run down to the Melbourne Hairpin, or the only other opportunity you've got is heading across Wheatcroft Straight heading down to Turn 1, which is Redgate, and that's pretty much the only opportunities you've got. But with a biggest turnout of cars today, I think lapping the GTOs is going to be pretty difficult through that SE section after Turn 1.
Absolutely. It's just going to have to be pick and choose your battles, I'm sure. But taking a look at the championship, the battle has been trying to catch Heitor Sintez Galindo. 2 wins on this season. He has been on great form, but not perfect form. Has had his own issues, but he's been more consistent than Suarez, Jungbluth, and Krejcik, who are still chasing. Javier Mosquera rounding out your top 5 in the GTP points, all separated by only 31 markers so far. Ryan, what about in the GTO championship here?
Yeah, the GTO Championship is pretty much being led at the moment by Philip Blake in first place, but he's only got a 5-point cushion between him and Nicholas Bakanos, and then Reid Miller in third is only 8 points further back, and 9 points further back in fourth is Javier Del Ormo, and rounding out the top 5 is Finland's Jukka Leskala. So the GTO Championship is still pretty close at the moment at this stage of the season, and it's still all to play for.
And yes, Lesko looks like he's got some of his form back after taking a win last week out. But today's race is your typical fare for this series. It is a 40-minute event. It's an open setup series, so drivers can try to find speed that way. But they also have no spare car. So if you get any sort of damage, and there's definitely places where you could accrue that, you're going to have to come in and get that repaired. Drive-through penalty at 17 incidents, disqualification at 25. Probably not the off-track to worry about as much as potentially a cut course through those Fogarty S's through the chicane. Right now, Laust Olsen has the provisional pole in the prototypes, but we're waiting on a bunch of drivers to set a time. And Kiradine Buafia has returned after a long time away and has the provisional pole in the GTOs. Now, that is interesting. And it looks like here, Ryan, he's got a pretty significant gap over Leskala on that first lap.
Yeah, just looking at the gap, it's not really much of a gap, but it's still, he's got a cushion at the moment anyway, and yeah, good to see him back on track, and at the moment doing pretty well in qualifying with the pole position. Jukka Leskala currently in second, and Philip Blake rounding out the top 3, but I think Leskala is probably the person it could possibly take that pole position away in the final few minutes, possibly.
Laust Olsen's second lap was an improvement. Inatani managed to get a lap in, but it was still 0.3 of a second away from Olsen. And both of Laust's laps so far are good enough for pole position. Ove Trangrade parks it, so he's done. He's not able to respond. We're still waiting on Machajewski to set a time as his first lap got deleted. But we also see Leskala still 0.4 away from Buafia, who's finished his second lap, had it deleted. So what can the 3 do as he flies out of the hairpin here, Ryan? It's looking like he is going quicker, but it's going to be tight.
Yeah, it's going to be tight, and can he take the pole position away? No, he can't.
Oh, 0.06 of a second between himself and Buafia. Phil Lake is done with his, so he'll only do as good as third. And Machajewski has put a lap down. He is a full 1/4 of a second ahead of Laust Olsen. Jakob now sitting good to try and take another win, as looks like we just about have everybody managing to put a lap in. Waiting to see, let's see who else still needs one. And it doesn't look like we've got anybody else able to make it to the line here. No, Krejcik can still, looks like, as we've got him on screen. But that one's not going to count, as he unfortunately goes off the course through Coppice. And that, I think, will settle our qualifying order. Oh, no, we got Alejandro Carid in the 21. Just enough time to get around, it looks like. Going to be a little tight down to it, but he is the last of the GTOs, Ryan, that has not put a time down. So everybody else in his class has put something representative. Let's see where he can slot himself in.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight if he can get round to finish his lap. But I think he should just have enough time to get round and complete this lap at the moment. But it seems to be a decent lap. I think just the way he's going at the moment, I think it should put him probably round about the mid-pack or maybe towards the rear of the field, but not too far off, I think. I think I'll probably be slotting in the midfield, I think. Still
looking good on my timing tower for him. It's looking like a decent lap, and he comes up towards Goddard's, the final hairpin. And all he has to do is navigate this one safely. He's a little off the apex. I think he should still have this count. I haven't seen him have an off track since we joined him, and it's a 29.2. That is going to put him into 16th in class, second to last of the entire field. So unfortunately, not quite the mid-pack like he had hoped. That will actually settle our grid at this point. Jakob Machajewski is starting on the pole today. Once again, it is Laust Olsen who will be on his outside. Tomoyasu Inatani, who's been quick but can't seem to be consistent, will start from third, and Ove Trangrade comes in for fourth. It is Martin Krajcik in fifth place with Doug Cloud in sixth, Seamus Power seventh, and Emerson Gaudin eighth. Not that big of a field here in the GTPs. Brian Pinner and Corey Boudinot were the last to set times in the prototypes, with Olsen, Clapper, Ribas, and Fonseca rounding out the back of that pack. Here, Ryan?
Yeah, in the GTOs, it's pole position for Keridine Boafia, with Finland's Jukka Leskila rounding out the front row, with row 2 being rounded out by Philip Lake and Nicholas McCanus, with Reid Miller behind them, and Andre Schumacher, Javier Del Olmo, Ben Laughter, Hideki Koivisto, Mark Ollie, Robert Plumley, Jesus Amondere, Netan Cameron, Daniel Ivana, Gianluca Gabbiani, Alejandro Carid, and rounded at the grid in the GTOs is Alex Williams.
And already they're lining up on the grid, so they are ready to go. It looks like it's pretty good conditions is the good news, as it's only 85 Fahrenheit on the track and not a lot of wind, just about 7 or 8 miles an hour. So 29 Celsius for our metric friends, Ryan, and hopefully that'll at least help them try to navigate what is going to be a slightly frantic race today.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be absolutely frantic, especially when it comes to lapping his GTO cars. If you catch GTOs through that downhill SE section after turn 1, I think it's going to be a case of possibly having to wait behind them, and you'll lose probably about 2 to 3 seconds. But that's just the way it goes sometimes in these multi-class races. But looking forward to this race, Donington Park. It's another favourite track of mine's on iRacing, and especially with these Kamel GT cars as well, the GTOs and the GTO Audis, or GTPs, Nissans and GTO Audis, I should say.
Well, I'm looking through our entry order, and we don't have our points leader, Aitor. We don't have Pablo Suarez, second in points. We don't have Fabian Jungbluth, who's third in points. The first one to show is Martin Krajcik here today, and he is 22 points behind Aitor Sintes Galindo. So he needs a first or a second to at least tie or better him in the points lead. But he has a much easier time of trying to get up to Jungbluth and Suarez. This is only 4 points and 15 points, respectively. We do have some onboard cams as well. Let's take a look as Phil Lake is back once again with his Cylon cam, as Adam Young has dubbed it. And then, as is traditional, we've got Laust Olsen here with us from that front row. Both of them very high up starters in today's field, Ryan. But, man, an interesting situation there in the prototypes. This race could blow this championship wide open.
It possibly could, and Krajcik as well. I think if he can get a good result today, he could get himself back into that championship battle and close the gap on the other championship contenders in front of him. So, but on the other hand as well, he can't take too many risks at the same time. So he's got to think about that. But it looks like we're just about to get round the final corner, and we'll be green flag racing.
And Laust Olsen really wants a good result here today as well, as he sits sixth in the points, and it is a big jump there for Jakob, who immediately streaks away from the prototype field down into red gates, and it's clean for the GTPs. Let's go to the GTOs.
Yeah, the GTOs, even before they got round the final corner, that hairpin, there was an accident in the GTOs. There was several cars caught up in it, and it looks like it's I'm not sure who it was. It's just it all kicked off as soon as I went back to look at them. But back up at the front in the GTOs, it's Jukka Leskila and Boafia going at it, going down the hill.
Into the old hairpin. Leskila trying to catch up around the outside. He was better on the brakes. Oh, but he's got 2 wheels off. He has to give it up. Kiradine is back to the point and leads the way. Mukanos is now into third. What happened to Phil Lake? He is down in 14th. He must have been involved in that opening incident. Alex Williams as well, I saw off the track at the start there. There you see Lake all the way down the order with a lot of work to do.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for Phil Lake. He was just an innocent victim in that, because it just Yeah, there was a bit of a pinball effect into that final corner, but yeah, everyone apart from that, it seems to be in the GTOs anyway relatively clean. But GTO, it's still Lesko and Bouafeur starting to pull away it ever so slightly, but it seems to be, well, don't want to jinx it, but it seems to be everyone's been relatively clean so far.
Yeah, it was Andre Schumacher that caused that incident at the start for the GTOs. We'll try and look at it in a little bit. And actually, Andre just had another off track in which he cut the course, and I think he's going to be given a stop and go. Well, he's parking it. So there goes the 27 off to the side, and I might think his day is done for him. In the meantime, Maciejewski is leading in the GTPs as Tranger just had some sort of issue. He's dropping multiple positions, and now he is off course. Not sure what caused this, but he was sitting up, I believe, in the top 3, and now it's all suddenly fallen apart.
Yeah, Tranger had a great start, and I don't know if it didn't look like he had any damage, so maybe a technical issue like a wheel failure or pedals or something like that, but that was strange. But back up at the front in the GTOs at the moment, it's still Maciejewski leading as well.
Yep, here the prototypes leading ahead of Olsen and Inatani back there in third. Jakob now taking the fastest lap of the race. It's a little bit closer down in the GTOs. Guafi and Leskla have not separated. They've dropped Mukanos by about 2.7 seconds. So that is certainly separating between them. Unless we get a move here into this final turn, I think we got time to maybe take a glance at the incident that happened here at the start of the race. And yeah, too far away from one another. Let's take a glance at Schumacher, which I think it was aggressive, and then touching the grass just didn't help things here. Ryan, here, let's look.
Yeah, so Andre, I don't, it's hard to tell. I think Andre maybe, he got a good start. He got a great launch as soon as the green flag went out, but I think he just missed his braking point and unfortunately locked up under braking and wiped out several cars in that incident. Phil Lake being one of them, but that was just so unfortunate and nothing intentional. It's so easy to do with these GTO cars, because if you downshift too quickly or you have too much brake bias, you're just basically going to lock the rear, and the rear will just go around.
Well, that was a real bowling ball situation for those at the front of the field and cost them. But the rest behind are trying to take advantage, guys like Mukanos and Ole, as, battle behind him, actually, as Del Olmo just overtook on Amundere, but it looks like Jesus is going to just fight back and cut underneath him. He'll get back into 5th position.
Yep, and Olmo tries to go for the move, or tries to pull out and try and maybe just unsettle Amundere, but doesn't succeed, and with compromising his entry, he gets a slow exit on the exit of that chicane. But as they head into the hairpin now, they're all still close together, and GTO way further back in the field.
Mundere holds him back. Ole holds him back as Mundere is trying to once again cut underneath and makes a little bit of contact with the left rear bumper. So Mark retains that 4th position, but it is a real intense fight at this stage, and that's Philip Lake that you see in the background on the attack, trying to get yet another spot. This would be 8th if he can just get around Koivisto. Koivisto gives him space, but now it's a drag race down the hill, Ryan.
Yeah, this is a bit risky going two by two down the hill, but it looks like Phil Lake has managed to get the move done on the Koivisto, and Koivisto just about gets ran into from behind, but manages to escape without any contact. But Phil Lake is absolutely on a charge back through the field.
Still about 12 seconds behind our overall leaders. Not sure if he'll be able to run them down unless he gets a lot of help from traffic here. As we watch his onboard coming up into Coppice, very blind, even with the VR headset that he's currently utilizing. Gabbiani just in front of him. He's going to show his nose. This is from a long ways back. He's going to try it anyways, and he gets the overlap into the corner. Gabbiani gives him room, and that is Lake through. That slows up Gabbiani big time behind them. All kinds of drama off the course. Ben Laughter barely holds on to it as he just about lost it. And look at them, 2 by 2 down into the Melbourne hairpin.
Yeah, I have to say that was a great move by Phil Lake. He was not taking no for an answer. He just pretty much in a way, kind of just barged his way through, and he was like, nope, I'm not hanging back. But great move by him, good aggressive move, gets by and manages to pull away. And behind them, it all kind of just kicked off a little bit into the Melbourne hairpin, where everyone was just outbreaking themselves. But this is a fantastic racing in the GTO class.
And they're still stuck together. Now, Phil Lake has certainly scampered away. You can see up ahead, he has distanced himself and is focused forward. But these four, as Reed Miller's going to go on the attack on Gabbiani. He's already been passed once. Behind them, they've also got traffic. That is our leader. That is Maciejewski that is trying to tiptoe his way by. He absolutely flew into this group.
Yeah, I was amazed that Maciejewski just came from nowhere, and he's just getting through the traffic, but he has to be careful not to take any risks as he ride on board with Klaus Olsen, trying to get through the traffic as well. And this is the thing with slower class traffic as well, that in a slow corner, you've basically just got to wait, and it's so frustrating at times. But as Klaus gets by these two GTOs through the chicane, and he just about runs wide, but manages to get it slowed down just enough.
It's worked out a little better in favor of the number 1 machine as Jakob is away, but he's now being held up by yet more of them. Oh, and somebody off in front of him. That was Mundere, who just sort of suddenly lost control of the car for some reason, and he's going to go 3 wide briefly, as that is Gabbiani and Miller in a little bit of a tussle. Miller gets the exit and is able to put himself into 7th position. Oh, and somebody's going to try and go 3 wide there. That is Inatani, 3rd in our GTPs. Exactly like we were talking about, Ryan. This is already looking quite messy.
Absolutely is, and we've seen already with some of these GTPs coming through, there's been GTOs going off into the wall and just going onto the grass, and it's just the nature of Donington Park as well. It's just silly incidents can happen, but that's the way it goes in these races sometimes. It's been fantastic racing nevertheless, and I think these GTPs, some of these GTP drivers will be frustrated slightly, just like here. Oh, so close.
Koivisto and Cloud had a bit of a silly moment themselves as they tangled coming out of the old hairpin, but both are able to continue. And Inatani, as I mentioned, he's been very fast. He's had 2 third places, but both maybe could have been wins. But he unfortunately gave them up due to mistakes of his own, or simply getting tangled up with traffic. As here is a pass for 4th place, Lake over Ole. So next step going to be the podium, but it's a full 6, almost 7 seconds up to Nick Mukanos. Phil's got work to do.
Yeah, he absolutely has. In 6 seconds, I think it'll be a tough task to try and close that down. I think 4th place at the moment is probably the best that you can hope for, but still we've got round about 30 minutes remaining in this race still, so anything can happen. And I think with Phil Lake being an absolute quality driver with the GTO, I think he can close that gap down, but I think you'll need to rely on traffic a little bit.
This is Gaudin that you see on your screen in the red and white, Clapper behind him in the dark car. The 23 is up 4 positions, hardest charger in the prototypes, but is honestly not that much compared to what we've seen in the past from these drivers, managing to make up a lot of positions while others suffer issues. So far, he's trying to play patient on Gaudin as they overtake on Gabbiani. Down to the inside into Coppice, both going to be compromised on their way along with Gianluca. But everybody gets out the other side, thankfully. Now as they fly down Starkey Straight, they're going to have the likes of Reed and Miller let them through. Almost a little bit of a look from Clapper, it looked like.
Yeah, just closing up right under braking, and as they head down to the Melbourne hairpin now, can he probably make a move, but he decides to stay behind because he's not close enough. But a good passing opportunity, if you can get a good run in the exit of that chicane, you can try and make a move into the Melbourne hairpin, but it's you've got to be brave and very gutsy.
Back around to the front stretch to complete another lap. We still have a full 3/4 of this race to finish this one out. And we haven't seen a whole lot of changes at the front of either field. Maciejewski still leads the prototypes over Olsen. Guafia still ahead of Leskola, and those two have actually separated by a decent chunk. Guafia is now 2 seconds ahead of Leskola. We've been looking for somebody to try and bring the fight to Yuko, and it looks like Kiradine, part of the old guard here, has returned to try and give him some hassle.
Yeah, it's good to see him back in the GTOs, and yeah, he's always been a quick driver of the Saudi, but yeah, pretty much Yuka is probably thinking where's he found his pace from, but good to see someone else giving Yuka a challenge.
Indeed. See if he can come back at him. But we got a little better battle farther down in the GTOs. Mundere and Plumley are in a fight here for 9th, and unfortunately they're causing some issues for Arribas, who can't seem to find an opening to go by. He was boxed in. Now he should have a good chance coming down into the braking from Melbourne, but I don't know if he's going to get both of them. No, he is only going to get one.
Well, I thought that GTO that came flying in there was going to run into the back of them, but manages to get it slowed down just in time.
That's brought Ben Laughter up to Plumley now instead. Mundere on to Gabbiani, so it's all changed complexion here as drifting across the track. Gianluca trying to take the racing line down into Red Gate, and that is going to be Arribas compromising Mundere, who really wanted a better exit and unfortunately cannot get the throttle down as he comes off the turn. He'll have to try again later.
Yep, absolutely, as they come down to the old hairpin now, and these two are still close together, and yeah, but behind them they've got a couple of other cars joining in this battle as well. But turn 1 is one of those in the GTO anyway. It's one of those corners that you want to try and optimise the entry to get a good exit. But if you run wide or you have to compromise the entry, it just completely messes up your exit.
Well, he'll get a few more shots at it. Let's see if he can get it without the traffic trying to barge their way through. And here comes Mundere with a big run coming off of Coppice. He's got the inside. Can he get it cleanly through this chicane? Yes, he can.
Oh, fantastic move. He managed to... He knew he had the run, and he knew he was up the inside, and he managed to get it stopped just in time before running wide over the right-hand side of that chicane. But managing to pull away now, and it looks like Amundere's got the slightly more pace.
Yeah, he's going to try and run away from this now while he lets Gabbiani fight with Plumley and Laughter just outside of the top 10. I think Laughter wants that spot from Gianluca, and he's going to show himself in his mirrors, but I didn't think he was close enough. He'll stay behind. So we've had the GTP traffic run through at least once on that group now. But I think Machajewski is going to be hitting the rest of them, the back of them, within about 2 more laps. So we should see this start all over again, which means I think we're going to see at least 4 times that they will lap those other cars, that other class, coming off of the old hairpin. There is Jakob trying to run away from Olsen. And Laust has something of a cleaner race this time, it appears, at least for now, compared to what we witnessed in the Lotus 49s just a couple hours ago. In fact, this is probably about the clearest the track is going to look for him right here, as he's all on his lonesome.
Yep, and yeah, Donington Park is one of those tracks that you don't really, in the multi-class stuff anyway, you don't really get a chance to rest apart from, well, like this at the moment that Laust has got a clear track behind and in front of him, but it won't be too long before some of these GTPs are coming up to the GTOs again, and having to go through the hassle of lapping them all over again.
We got a battle going on between Mundere, Plumley, Gabbiani, and Laughter all together. Plumley might have a good shot at taking the spot coming down into Red Gate. He's very shallow, though, and I've got to think that Mundere is going to be able to out-drag him. Not quite. They're going to stay wheel to wheel. It switches back and forth, usually through the Craner curves, but it'll favor Plumley. He gets that 8th place.
That was a fantastic move by Robert Plumley. He managed to get the run down the home straight and stay up the inside into turn 1, and I was quite surprised that Mundere never had the run on the outside on the exit, but credit to Robert Plumley, he stuck with it and never gave up and managed to pull the move off. And yeah, they've got one of the GTPs coming through now. Actually, a couple of GTPs coming through now, so this might spot up the battle as Plumley clips the grass a little bit on the exit.
Yeah, that is Budino and our overall leader. So this is the second time through now, and Maciejewski's trying to play it safe. Oh my goodness. That was almost Budino getting hit by Gabbiani, and I thought Maciejewski was going to be an innocent victim collected by all that, just boxed in with no place to go. But look at how he's managing this as contact behind him causes more trouble, and that was Amundere getting hit by Plumley, who has to give up the spot to Gabbiani now. So luck is clearly in favor of Jakob today. He's been so close to what could have been major issues that took him out.
Yeah, I think Jakob might have had his heart in his mouth there for a few seconds, because that could have ended up in disaster, but thankfully he managed just to get through in one piece, and he's right on board with Lars Olsen, and he's about 4.3 seconds behind him now. It's coming down, heading down to the old hairpin, and can he get by this GTO? Yes, he can, just in time, and yeah, if he didn't get by, he would have lost about 2 or 3 seconds, as again he gets boxed in a little bit.
Olsen's already 7 seconds behind Jakob now. And, he wanted to go to the inside, but unfortunately a little bit offline. Gabbiani caused him some hesitation. Now he's going to get it coming through Coppice corner, and eventually should be able to easily out-drag Olsen, or excuse me, Amundere down Starkey straight. So he's clear, at least for a little while, once more, but the damage has been done. It's up to 9 seconds to his class leader. Still about 3.7 between Boafia and Leskala, for those curious. So that hasn't separated nearly as large, but it's still not close. Inatani carrying that number 2 on his Nissan. And he's dropped from Olsen by about 4.8 seconds. He's now got to deal with all of this. Plumley's trying to attack on Gabbiani. They've got their own battle. That's the thing that we haven't really talked about here, Vian, is that he wants to get through, but these guys have their own race to do, and it looks like it's going to go in favor of Gabbiani this time.
Oh, whoa! Whoa! Oh, nice save.
Yeah, and so Inatani does not lose a position, but he has to repass all those GTOs. Am I seeing a bit of damage on the right-hand side? Yeah, it looks like he's kind of crinkled. And he almost causes himself more damage as Tomoyasu almost sent it off. And the Japanese driver is certainly causing us some scares today. He catches back up to that group. He wanted to lap. He gets one. Now he's got to do Plumley and Gabbiani. Can keep it from spinning the wheels up. Oh, he wants to go all the way out to the edge, but he keeps Plumley from being able to track out himself, costing them both time. This time he outbrakes them and is able to carry on. But things have been frightening for Inatani in these first half of this race.
Yeah, amazingly, I'm amazed he never spun out into the wall on the exit of the old hairpin, but yeah, just getting a little bit ragged there. But yeah, to bring you back to your point about these GTOs having their own battles, it's always been the rule of multi-class racing that the slower class car doesn't have to move offline. It's the responsibility of the faster class cars to get around them safely.
And that was Krejcik overtaking Inatani. It almost looked like he slowed and let him by, and he's going to spin again. Off the course goes Inatani. He does not like Redgate. He has not hit the wall in either time, but he's lost a position of power as well. Doug Cloud is getting ready to overtake him. Inatani once again throwing away a potentially podium finish. And Krejcik, man, he just might get tied for the lead if he can catch up to Olsen. But that's a big if. It's 13.5 seconds between himself and the 7 car.
Yeah, it's been a pretty quiet race for Krejcik as well. He's not really been involved in any, well, from what I see anyway, he's not been involved in anything like major, like any battles or anything. He's just been doing his thing, and at the moment he's in 3rd place. And yeah, if he makes it to the end of the race, you'll get enough points to close that gap in the championship and pretty much be tied.
Yeah, as it stands right now, Krejcik would be 2nd in the points after today, I'm pretty certain, if he finishes where things are currently. He's just chasing behind Ole and now past him down the front stretch. Mark is down to 7th. Unfortunately, he was much higher than that earlier in the race. Unfortunately, no such luck right now. Phil Lake, who we've been trying to half follow his progress, is still back and forth, but he has run down Mukanos. His pace has upheld, and he's about 1.3 seconds back. I think that was around 6 seconds last time we looked. So he's been steadily chipping away at this, Ryan. There it is on screen.
Yeah, Phil Lake is having a great race, and he's managed to get through the field and or close this gap down to Mukanos, and it's been a great recovery drive from Phil, considering he was caught up in that incident with Andre Schumacher at the start, and just kept his nose clean, and he's been keeping a good pace. And as you can see right now in front of him, Mukanos is not too far ahead.
Yeah, it's only 1.1 seconds now. Let's see what they do this time by on the lap. Is this giving Nick the hurry up now that he can see Lake gaining on him? Or is this going to be a 3rd place for Phil after he started this race exactly there? So he'll at least return to even if he can make this overtake. That time by, it was a 26.1 personal best for Lake, 26.7 for Mukanos. So he is still just hacking away at the gap.
Yep, and we've got about 17 minutes left in this race, so that's plenty of time for Phil to close his gap down and maybe try and make a move. But yeah, looking at his pack of cars coming across the start-finish line now. The GTO part was going on, but there's a GTP trying to get through as well, heading into turn 1.
Yeah, that's the likes of Gabbiani, who still has Laughter right there with him. Laughter down a couple spots from where he began. Inatani and Fonseca are the ones directly behind them. Inatani wants to get by, but he's got to play patient, and that checks him up. Fonseca does not try and take advantage. He can't see an opening to get by. Now trying to make an opening. Looks like Inatani has at least gotten 1. Can he get 2 here before they get to Coppice? Oh, he wanted to, but he unfortunately was checked up. Just cannot relax in the Kamel series. This is an adrenaline rush and a half, as you constantly need to be on your toes. Coming down through the Fogarty S's, just has to go by Robert Plumley and the likes of Amundre before he gets some clear air for a little bit, but he's struggling some of these slower corners, and the wheel spin is atrocious for Inatani. That's the 3rd time we've watched him spin up the rears, and again, it has lost him spots. He is now down to 8th.
Yeah, that's the thing with these GTO cars, or GTP cars rather, that you need to be careful of, is getting on the power and not being too heavy-footed, because the turbo in these cars can bite you, and if the rear wheel spin up, you're pretty much having to wrestle the car all the time. And again, I thought it was going to be contact there. Yeah,
there are some places where it's marginal for those GTOs that if you're in the GTP, you might not be aware of how difficult it is to get through there. But right now, it's been difficult for Miller to overtake on Del Olmo. This will get him a top 5. He's been sitting back here for quite some time. Javier up 2 spots, Miller down 1 from where he began. Down into the Melbourne hairpin. He's going to stay ahead for now. We're not missing anything at the front of the GTPs. I know we haven't checked on them in a while, but Jakob is 14.5 seconds ahead of Olsen. It's not looking like that one is going to change anytime soon. Onto the front stretch, though. Del Olmo retains the track position advantage over Reed Miller. And coming out of Redgate, we'll see if Reed can try and start to close it up, if he can maybe try a few tricks to see if he can get within striking distance soon.
I'm still keeping an eye on the battle for 3rd place in GTO, and Philip Lake is definitely a lot closer to Mukanos now, or he was a lot closer, but it's slightly been broken up by a couple of GTPs coming through to the lap then now. But I think as Mukanos runs wide a little bit, and it gives Phil Lake an opportunity to close that gap and get a run on the exit, and down to the the Fog ASs, and Phil Lake, I think if you can possibly get a good run on the exit of Fury, he might be able to try and make a move heading down to the Melbourne hairpin, but he's not close enough.
Amazingly, in all of this, we have still only lost 2 cars, and that's Trangrade and Schumacher, one of each class. Defensive move this time. Clearly, Lake is starting to make Nick sweat a little bit because he's starting to try and cover him off into a couple of the corners, including here again.
Yeah, Phil Lake definitely trying to make Nicholas McCanus rattled a little bit, and he's doing a good job as he pulls out again, just showing that he's there. He's not going to do anything silly, but just trying to play mind games, unsettle him, and try and can he get a good run on the exit of turn 1? Yes, he can.
Ooh, this is looking good for him potentially. Is Mukanos giving it up? He might fight him. He had a bad shift or something there, and that lost him some ground. Fights back, coming into the old hairpin and fights back hard. He gets back ahead of him. I did not see that coming. And look at the smile from Phil Lake. He appreciated that move.
Yeah, this is fantastic stuff between the both of these guys, and I believe these guys are teammates. So that yeah, I don't think there's any team orders by the looks of it. So Phil Lake definitely decided not to stay behind him, and I think again Phil Lake, if he can get a good exit on the exit of the Fog ESs and heading down to the Melbourne chicane, he could try and get a move done, but they've got a couple of GTPs trying to get through.
Yeah, one is able to navigate them. That is Gaudin. The next one's going to be Fonseca. Could he act as a pick, maybe? Cover off the inside line so that Mukanos can't take it and Lake just streaks through? No, he's not going to try such trickery. And off the corner, he's still right there. We could see Phil Lake continue to hound him into an error. Mukanos goes defensive, cutting back a little bit. Lake could have a better exit, but no, it's not doing.
I think this is his best opportunity again, is turn 1 into Redgate. If he can try and get a good exit, he could get that run down, heading down to the old hairpin, but he's not close enough this time around.
No, nothing like what we saw last lap around, and they're coming down to 10 minutes to go pretty soon. The final quarter of the race. He's going to have to get a little bit more aggressive, I think, if he wants that position, especially with how hard Nick is fighting on this one. I think he really wants this podium. In fact, I got to check to see what his results have looked like recently, because he's second in the points. But he had a 3rd place finish last time out, so he's trying to carry on that trend, as there was a little look there up into Coppice, Ryan, but not sure if he had a serious chance at it.
Not this time, but he's got a great run heading down to the Fog ES. He's pulling out to have a look, and he's not going to throttle the inside. I think he should have stayed behind and tried to get a good exit, but they've got a GTP coming up, and this could be Lake's best opportunity to try and make a move. Maybe try and take advantage of that gap being open, and no, yeah, not close enough, and the gap wasn't there. So Lake this time has to stay behind. But this is fantastic stuff between the both of these guys. It's hard but fair racing.
An 8th, a 5th, a 2nd. It's been some interesting mix of results for Nick Mukanos. At 8th place, actually his worst finish so far this season. And that might be why he's at least giving Philip Lake a run for his money. Phil missed, well, didn't miss. He had a bad race back at Road America. Otherwise, Phil has been 1st or 2nd every round he's contested, other than round 3. But looks like he might break that streak today. Even if he gets past Mukanos, it is 30 seconds up to Leskala currently.
Yeah, and McCanus ran wide on the exit of the old hairpin there, and it compromised his exit, and they've got a GTP coming up to lap them, and tries to get by both of them. Lake has to slow up, and if I was Lake, I would have kept got in the power early and tried to get the run, but just got kind of bottled up a little bit by that GTP on the exit. But again, Philip Lake, it's been a great recovery drive from him, and yeah, I think even if he finishes in 4th, he'll probably agree it's been a great result for him. But in another way, I was just happy to have a good battle with someone such as McCanus, because the battle between these guys has been absolutely fantastic stuff to watch.
Well, if Mukanos finishes ahead of him here with that third place, it's going to be a 2-point swing between them, and they're 5 points apart. So Lake would still retain the points lead, but it's going to be even smaller. And I'm sure that's part of why he's eager to try and get by. Not just because he seems to savor these battles. That was a big lockup from Nick, but Phil's not there to capitalize.
Yeah, he had to be a lot closer to try and get a run on the exit there, but Mukanos is definitely feeling the pressure now as he misses the entry or the turn into the old hairpin ever so slightly, and this gives Phil Lake a chance to get a run on the outside, but they've got a GTP coming up behind him.
And that's Laust Olsen, who doesn't want to lose any more time than he needs inside up into McLean's. And that will finally get him the spotter. Will it? Mukanos fights back, looking to try and cut underneath as they enter into Coppice, but he gets pinched down at the apex. Not sure that this is going to be good enough. No, slightly better run at first. Oh, and he starts to drop back. And poor Laust Olsen can only sit and watch, knowing this is a fight for top positions. Eventually, he's able to go by.
Yeah, a fantastic move by Phil Lake, and a great opportunistic move as well. And Lake took the opportunity, and yeah, he didn't give up, and as he locks up into the Melbourne hairpin, and that gives Mukanos an opportunity to try and get close to him again and get a run. But I think Lake, if he just keeps it together heading into the final corner and keeps it cool on the exit, I think he should be able to pull away now.
So far, so good. And the 4 is ahead. Now, he ran down Mukanos from quite a ways back, so I would think he should be able to pull away. Not sure if the slipstream is enough for Mukanos to ride his coattails. Almost had a better exit coming out of Redgate down into Hollywood and the Craner curves, but now he drops back. Is he going to just consolidate this position? A lot of little lockups from Phil Lake I've been noticing on some of these corners. Really trail breaks it to the nth degree.
Yeah, that's the thing I've noticed with these GTO cars as well, that you've got to really trail brake as well, especially, for example, into hairpin, you've got to trail brake a lot to get the front end to turn. But yeah, Phil Lake, I've noticed as well, he's been locking up ever so slightly in some places, but still, yeah, it's been a great recovery up into third place now, and just pulling away ever so slightly from Mukanos, but Mukanos closes right up under braking, and he might try and get a run heading down to the Melbourne hairpin, but he's not close enough.
I like the vigor that Nick is showing today. He fought hard, he defended very hard, and now he's trying to fight back as well, hoping that he can overtake his teammate once again. And I guess at this point, you might as well fight. I mean, like I said, 30 seconds behind the next car up in second place, Yuko Leskala. And it's about 6 seconds back to Reed Miller. So they're free to fight here. This is for pride, if anything.
Yeah, pretty much. And even though it's between teammates, it's good stuff. And Mukanos, I was expecting him to drop back, but credit to him, he's absolutely not giving up, and just pretty much throwing everything at it, or throwing the kitchen sink, if you like, and to keep up with Phil Lake. But yeah, like you say, they're too far behind Leskala now, so it's pretty much a battle for the final step on the podium, and just a bit of fun between both of these guys.
This is our best battle on the track. Everybody else is really spread apart. 5 minutes left to go now. Will they get lapped once again before this is over? Doesn't look like it. So, don't think they're going to get caught by Maciejewski as they come down along the Starkey Straight. Krajcik, third in the GTPs, is quickly approaching. He's miles away from anybody else currently, so honestly not really concerned with much other than making sure passes are clean here for the GTOs. Both Audis are able to stay away from him, but look at how much that held up Nick Mukanos. What was just a car length between himself and his teammate Lake has spread to 1.5 seconds. Oh, and we had contact between Clapper and Cloud coming down through the Melbourne hairpin. Trying to see if this was an attack from Clapper on Cloud, and unfortunately, he got into the side of Doug. And he gets on the radio giving an apology to Doug, saying he wasn't sure if it's his fault or not. And Doug is accepting of the apology. Had another self-spin from Gaudin. Didn't get any help on that, so no reason to go there. But that battle, once again, going away as well. And Mukanos, now that Lake has dropped him from the slipstream, looks like he cannot keep up with the number 4.
Yeah, it's just the way it goes with the GTPs lapping them. The battles can be split up, and you just lose some time, as Mukanos has found out. But I think Lake and Mukanos will be pretty much smiling after this race, because that was absolutely fantastic stuff between them, and they probably enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed it.
Oh, I have no doubt that they savor that one. Also, Maciejewski still has the lead, but he actually had an off. Not sure if we have a replay of this. Coming out of the Fogarty S's, which he's approaching right now. And this was spinning up the rear tires. We've seen Inatani do that a lot. It's not a super hot day. Not sure why. Oh, it's the curb. That's what it was. You could see it just bouncing around as he came off of there. And I guess it just upset the car enough that he couldn't hold it. But I guess the good news for him, Ryan, is that he didn't hit anything in the process.
Yeah, I was about to say, I did notice as soon as he saw it, he was starting to half spin or maybe just get unsettled. He hit the brake straight away, and that was good heads up driving by him, and he manages to keep it out the wall and get going again. But yeah, it probably woke him up a little bit.
Well, he's only going to stay awake for just a couple more minutes. Across the line with about 2.5 to go. So it's going to be close if it's 2 or 3 laps. I think it's 3 that he's going to have here. Yeah, it should be 3 laps to go. And mostly clear track in front of him. A little bit up the road, you can see Emerson Gaudin. He started the lap drivers within his own class as well, which is certainly its own skill to be had, as they aren't always as aware, and you don't have any sort of pace advantage like you do over the GTOs, where it's many seconds difference. Down through the Fogarty S's, still trying to play catch up. So coming around, gonna get the 2 to go signal. Laust Olsen still second place. Krajcik, a nice job up from 5th to 2nd, and should still put him 2nd in the points after this race is over, unless he has some kind of problem. There's Olsen that you see on your screen in the yellow and blue machine at number 7, up no spots. He started on the front row, has basically just been cruising around in this position since, and we're getting the white flag. That doesn't seem right. Surely this has got to be one more after this lap. Oof, man, Jacob is really pushing this one. He's got to be careful that he does not throw away an easy win.
Yeah, I think he may be trying to go for the fastest lap here, but yeah, the only downside of that is, you've got to be really careful and not make any silly mistakes. But as you've got GTO traffic in front of him, I think heading into the Melbourne hairpin, and another GTP car as well, as Jacob runs wide and he spins up the rear wheels on the exit, and yeah, taking a lot of risks considering that he's got a big margin.
I don't know why he's doing what he's doing out there, but there is the white flag. So now we've got it proper coming across the line. And Jacob comes upon yet more of that GTO traffic. Reed Miller stays off to the side. Brian Pinner within the GTPs is up next. They've got Fonseca and Arribas along with Nick Mukanos. My goodness, now that Lake has dropped Mukanos, it has just been ever increasing. It's up to 4 seconds from Lake to Mukanos right now. Out of Coppice and down Starkey Straight. Not sure if Lake's going to get another lap, because that's Maciejewski that you can see behind him. Coming along, and a car off there to the side. That is just Arribas staying out of the way. So Phil Lake might lose a lap compared to Leskala, but I'm not sure he'll mind all that much. And either way, he has certainly got this third place wrapped up, because behind him, Jakub Maciejewski is going to come out and do one better than the second place he had last time. He's going to win here at Donington. Immediately parks it as well. Guafia. It wasn't a completely quiet one for him. He had some threats from Yuko early. Certainly had his own dramas with lap traffic flying past. But the number 13 has shown that Leskala has got to watch out for him anytime he shows up. This was quite the display from Carradine. One last time through the Goddard's hairpin and off. Carradine Buafia is your winner in the GTO class here at Donington Park. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Donington Park. The GTPs in the Kamel GT series saw Jakub Maciejewski go from second last week to a win here today, and wasn't really hassled much after the start of the race, just kind of continued to extend that gap over Laust Olsen, who was P2. Martin Krajcik was third, up from fifth, as others unfortunately saw themselves make critical mistakes. Seamus Power, nice jump from seventh to fourth, but Clapper didn't set a qualifying time. He went from 12th to 5th. Doug Cloud finished exactly where he started in 6th, and Carlos Fonseca was 7th. Emerson Gaudin was 8th. Tomoyosu Inatani struggling today, mysteriously. Not sure what was going on with that car. Only 9th as Christian Arribas rounds out your top 10. Start of the next slide has Corey Boudinot in 11th, Brian Pinner in 12th, and the DNFs for our GTPs was Ove Trangrade with Mike Olson, a DNS as well.
And in the GTOs, it was Carradine Buafia taking the win, and in second place was Finland's Jukka Leskala with Phil Lake round out the podium. Nicholas McCarris, after that fantastic battle with Phil Lake, finishes in 4th, and Reid Miller in 5th. 6th is Javier Del Olmo, 7th is Mark Ollie, Robert Plumley in 8th, Jesus Almondere in 9th, 10th is Ben Blafter, Gianluca Gabbiani in 11th, Neton Cameron in 12th, 13th is Hideki Koivisto, Alejandro Carid in 14th, and Alex Williams is the first of the retirements, with Andre Schumacher rounding out the retirements as well after being caught up in that incident on lap 1.
All right, so that's going to take us to Jakub here in the number 1 machine. And congratulations, Jakub. It looked somewhat straightforward from our perspective, but we did notice at the end of the race, you seemed to be having a couple offs, a couple moments of wheel spin. What was happening with the car at the end?
Hello. Yeah, I mean, the race was great, but just as always, I toast my rears a bit. It's just my driving style is a bit aggressive. I want to go on a throttle early, and yeah, I had a couple of corrections, and then I had one off track on the chicane, and that was basically the same what happened last week. So last week I spun off the lead, and it's because I went too slow on a bumpy surface, and the car just spun. That's quite weird. I don't know if it's not enough downforce on a bumpy part of the track or what, but yeah, luckily the car is manageable on the grass, so nothing really happened.
So a win on the second time of trying this season. Will you be coming back for more of these races? Because clearly, for guys like Heitor Sintes Galindo, who came into this round leading the championship, you could be a major concern taking points away from them.
I'm not sure. I'm not really looking forward to Lime Rock Park or Daytona, since this track will be more about managing the race, not about the pace. But who knows? Maybe I try. I also don't know if there are any special events or league races upcoming, because I mainly focus on them. Because I like the car and I like the multi-class that we have there, so it's quite nice to drive. I remember I was driving it like a year ago. I was quite slower. Now it's nice to come back.
Yeah, I'd say you're much faster this time around. So knowing that, heading off to Interlagos, a bit of a short-ish lap, but definitely a proper Grand Prix course over there. How do you feel heading off to Brazil?
I like the track, but I'm worried about the second sector, because the GTOs are faster out of the slow corners. And then in the middle sector, we don't really go up to the speed a lot, so I guess it would be quite hard up there, but a bit challenging as well, which is what I like. So maybe I try.
All right. Well, we'll watch out for you. And again, congratulations. Is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I would like to thank Alex Gall for not driving. He probably got scared a bit after last week's race. Nah, it's just joking. But yeah.
Well, good stuff there. And that was our winner in the GTP class here today, Jakub Makajewski. And I believe, let's see who we have up next for us. It looks like Ryan's going to be talking to Laust Olsen, who finished second, a bit distant behind Jakub.
Absolutely, yeah. Laust finishing in second place, and Laust, you had a great race, and you were keeping in contact with Jakub in front of you, but unfortunately GTO traffic just got in the way, and it split the gap up and made the gap bigger. But still, second place is a great result. You must be happy with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. It was, I think it was the most I could expect today. Jakub, he was very fast, and I couldn't keep up with him. So congrats to him. So it was quite lonely most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, we were watching some of the GTP cars trying to get through the GTO traffic, and how did you find it? Was it frustrating, or did you just keep telling yourself not to do any silly mistakes when lapping them?
I tried to be patient. As soon as I lost or got a gap to Jakub, I thought it was best not to take too many risks. So I tried to be a little patient. But for the most part, the traffic was not a problem for me. As long as you wait when you can't overtake them, you're fine, I think. There was one time I had Phil and Nick roadblock in front of me. They were fighting for position, so I had to wait for a long time before I actually could pass them. But they were racing, so that was quite okay.
Yeah, Donington Park with the Cabo series or this combination with multiclass. Do you like it? Would you like to see it back on the schedule in the series in the future, or what's your thoughts?
It's a good fun track, and I seem to be quite quick here, so it's okay for me.
And lastly, before we let you go, looking into Lagos next week, looking forward to it, or is it one of those tracks that, especially with that middle sector, do you think it'll be difficult to get by GTO traffic? Jakub was saying that the middle sector, the GTO cars seem to be slightly quicker.
Yeah, they probably are. As soon as it's slow corners and acceleration, they are quite a bit faster. Also today, the last two hairpins, if you didn't pass them into to the first of them, you had to wait to the main straight or start-finish straight because they were just out-accelerating me out of the hairpins. So, but as far as I remember, Interlagos is not that bad traffic-wise. You just have to, again, be patient in the slower parts, and then there's plenty of room where you can pass them.
And lastly, rather, before we let you go, is there anyone that you want to give a shout out or thank you to?
The Kamel community. I love racing this series, and then to you guys for the great broadcast you do.
Good stuff. Well, again, congratulations on the P2 Laos, and we look forward to seeing you at Interlagos next week. As I believe up next, Joe, you have got a third place finisher in the GTO class, Foul Lake.
Indeed, he at least keeps up the podium streak, but it's not a first or a second this time, at least when you're not DNFing. Man, it looked like you had everything stacked against you from the start of the race, though.
Yeah, it was nearly a DNF. I did take a quick look at that incident. I don't know. It was pretty ill-advised to try and go 3 wide straight away, and then I think there was a little bit of grass involved as well. So yeah, it's a shame. I was really hoping to. I'm realistic. I didn't think I had much chance of keeping up with Carradine. I thought I had maybe a shot with Yuko, but it didn't turn out that way. So I always actually kind of enjoy these races where something happens and you've got to make your way through the field. It's a lot of fun, but it's not good for the championship, obviously. So. Yeah, it's a bit of mixed feelings about this one.
Yeah, I can completely understand that. So, I mean, do you consider third the best possible result considering the circumstances then? You mentioned not expecting to catch Carradine. You had a massive gap up to Yuko, and honestly, you got just about everybody you could, it looked like, from our perspective.
Yeah, I think realistically, I don't think I could have got anyone else, not without something happening to them, and you don't really want to wish that on people. So, yeah, that was the best I could do today. Nick made it really, really difficult. So, yeah, that was good fun battling with him.
And what was even more wild is that was the fight for the championship lead as well, with you being 5 points apart. Now, you wouldn't have swapped positions, but he would have cut it down to, I believe, about 3 points separating you. Instead, it's gone up to 7. I said it last time, consistency seems to be one of your keys this time. We've seen Yuko now return, but with Carradine coming around and challenging him, is he kind of your best hope to keep Yuko from taking max points?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit of one of those people that works out all the points and all the scenarios and everything. So I already know what I need to do. And what Yuko needs to do. So Carradine coming in and winning races here and there is a help for me. So what would have been awesome would have been to hopefully have taken second off of Yuko and push him down to third, but that wasn't to be today. So yeah, I'm gonna have to recalculate after today and see what I need to do in the coming races.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye out for you when we head to Interlagos. Anybody want to give a thank you for today's podium?
Nick for the awesome fight. You guys as always. And just all my teammates.
I was Phil Lake, third place in the GTOs, which is going to wrap us up. Before we go, though, we do want to thank the Kamel GT community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. And we also want to thank the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts listed here. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more great work. And thanks to the team today, Ryan, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. Also, check out our merchandise store. It's gsrc.storenvy.com. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment, because as we mentioned, the next race is Interlagos, Saturday, April 30th at 1 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.